Alright guys, welcome to problem set 119 part 1. I'm going to teach you how to simplify our absolute value inequalities. Now we can drop our absolute value bars if we turn this into a conjunction. Now remember, a conjunction is two separate statements that are separated by an and symbol, or the word and that just means both of my statements must be satisfied simultaneously. So the first statement is going to come from just dropping the absolute value bars. X is less than 4. Now I write my word and I'm going to do the same thing except I drop my absolute value bars. Now I change my sign and I put a negative in front of the number. So that's what this is telling me. This occurs as long as my absolute value is less than. So anytime I see an absolute value of something is less than a number, I can do the situation. I drop my absolute value bars and leave my statement as is. I put an and, then I drop my absolute value bars, switch the sign, and put a negative in front of the number. Now we can just easily graph this. So I put an open dot on -4, an open dot on 4, and it's going to be everything in between. Okay, let's take a look at a scenario where I've got a little bit more going on inside my absolute value. Now remember, this is set builder notation. This is telling me, this first part is telling me my domain. This is just saying that my domain is the real numbers. Then this is the part that I'm graphing. So what this is really doing is saying graph x, absolute value of x minus 2 is less than 4, and my domain is real. So don't be confused by our set builder notation. Now let's take a look. We're going to turn this into a conjunction. Let's verify first that my absolute value is less than, and now we can do the same thing by turning it into a conjunction. I drop my absolute value bars, and then I keep everything else as is. I write my and then I drop my absolute value bars, I change my sign, and then I put a negative in front of my number. Now we can start to simplify. So I'm going to solve both of these inequalities for x. I add 2 to both sides, so I've got x is less than 6, and then I've got x is greater than -2, and my domain is my real numbers. Now, if my domain is my reals, I can easily graph this by drawing -2, 6, putting an open dot on each, and then filling in everything in between. Okay, let's get you guys to try one of those on your own. Take a look. We're going to be graphing this part. Absolute value of x plus 2 is less than or equal to 3, and my domain is my integers, is what this means. So I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds to try what I just showed you. Pause your video while you do so, and then unpause to see your solution. Okay, remember, we need to set up our conjunction first. So I'm going to drop my absolute value bars, and then leave everything else as is. Then I'm going to put my little and symbol, or the word and. Then I drop my absolute value bars, I switch my sign, and then I put a negative in front of the number. And I recognize my domain as integers. So now we can just simplify by solving for x. So this is going to be x is less than or equal to 1, and x is greater than or equal to -5. But remember, we're doing integers. So I've got -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1. And to show that this doesn't go on forever, I need to have at least one extra hash mark beyond everything to show that where my dots are and where they're going to stop. So now I just put dots on all the integers that are between -5 and 1. So good job if you guys got that. Let's try one more of these. We have the absolute value of x minus 3 is less than 5. This is the part that we're graphing, and my domain is the real numbers. So take 60 seconds to try this. Unpause your video to see your solution. So again, what we're going to do is drop our absolute value bars and then keep everything else as is. I put my word and there to remind myself that I'm creating a conjunction, and then I drop my absolute value bars, change the symbol, put a negative in front of my number. Now what we're going to do is solve for x. So this is going to be x is less than 8, and x is greater than -2. Now, because my domain is reals, I can just draw -2 and 8. And there's no equal bar, so I put an open dot on both of these, and then I fill in all of the real numbers in between those two. Nice job. For those of you who got that right, please see me in my live hours if that was confusing at all, and I would be happy to help. Good luck with the homework today, guys.